Do you think like that British working class people can throw off the systems of control that seem to be pretty threatened now with all the Epping protests and all the stuff around the Bell Hotel and all that, mate, if there isn't some cohesion and unity between, say, British working class and different British groups, which would include, I reckon, Muslim groups to a point?
My issue with Britain and what we want to do, and when you're talking about how people uniting against the control element of the government, the betrayal of the government, I think what we're seeing, I'm excited with what I'm seeing because I've waited 15 years for this, in the sense that I've been banging my head against the wall sometimes, trying to warn the public about problems that I know are coming, and people didn't want to listen to them or didn't want to accept them because it might burst the bubble of their life. And I could see all this. And it wasn't because I had a crystal ball. It was because I was born in Luton Town. So I'd looked at Luton Town, I'd seen mass immigration. I know, growing up in one of the most diverse towns in Britain, I know what works and what doesn't work. The problems in London are not coming out of the Christian black community either. The churches that are full, when they still have the family unit, there's not a problem. Okay, the problem does come growing up in Luton from Islam, which is what I talk about. And that, again, Russell, just to make it clear, because I know some great Muslims who I've grown up with. I'm not saying every single Muslim is a problem. That's why I say Muslims aren't the problem. Islamic teachings are. You used to be very liberal. I actually still say it's my liberal views that make me oppose Islam and its teachings. It's their views on women. It's the oppression of women, the violence, the execution of homosexuals. These fascist violent ideas are core teachings of Islam. It's not like they are core parts of Islam. But what's currently happening, Russell, across this country is a tidal wave of nationalism and patriotism. Remember, people have been made to feel ashamed of who they are. We've lost our identity, we've lost our culture, and a void has been filled. And that void has been filled because part of the identity and culture we've lost is Christianity. There's been an attack on Christianity, an organised, well-planned attack.
Tommy Robinson frames the current protests and unrest as proof that the British working class is finally rising against systems of control. He positions himself as someone who warned of these problems for 15 years, drawing credibility from his upbringing in Luton, a diverse town he uses as evidence for what works and what doesn't. Robinson argues the real issues don't come from Christian black communities, but from Islamic teachings, which he describes as oppressive and violent. While stressing he isn't attacking individual Muslims, he portrays Islam itself as incompatible with liberal values. His larger point is cultural. Britain has lost its identity, its Christian foundation, and its pride. According to Robinson, this loss created a void now filled by a wave of nationalism and patriotism. He casts this shift as both inevitable and necessary. But his framing is divisive. By blaming Islam as a whole, Robinson risks stoking religious hostility and reinforcing us versus them dynamics. His message appeals to fears of cultural decline and betrayal, but it offers little in terms of practical solutions. Instead, it functions as a rallying cry, provocative, polarizing, and designed to mobilize anger.
Check out the sign in North London. The anti-fly tipping notice is a warning of £1,000 is written in 8 different languages. Who said multiculturalism's failing, eh? Where else would you learn not to dump rubbish in so many languages? Right, panel. Now you're seeing the answers. You're looking at my article. Stop looking. Can you guess the answers? Anyone want to guess? Let's put it back up.
What was the question?
Yeah, I
don't know the
how many? What are the languages on this sign here? It's coming. The picture's coming in a second. But you can have a quick guess based on the
Hindu, Punjabi,
Go on.
Polish,
Okay.
Russian.
Russian? I wouldn't have.
They own half of London, Alex.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, Chloe. Any guesses?
Spanish.
Is Arabic on there?
It's got to be Arabic on there.
Surely Arabic has to be on there.
Okay.
Ukrainian?
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll find out in a second. Andy, any ideas?
Ukrainian's a good shout.
Okay, Ukrainian. All right, should we tell you the answers then? Right. Turkish, Albanian, Bengali, Bulgarian, Greek, Polish, Romanian, and Somalian. So there's no Arabic on there.
Wow.
There you go.
Because they
Talk
obviously
about
don't
subverting expectations in this show, right? Anyway, there you go. What do you think? So should we be having all these signs in different languages? Or do you think actually, is this a sign, Andy, that multiculturalism is not working? Because surely everyone should be able to speak at least the basic level of English, say, don't dump your stuff there.
Well, it's definitely a sign, isn't it?
Very good.
Quite literally,
is a sign. I don't really see what the problem is. It's just making life easier for people, no?
I think that's the problem. So I think that when immigration worked in this country is when, if you came here, you had no choice but to integrate and to speak English, else you just wouldn't be able to go about your day-to-day life. But now you can come to this country and you can just move to a community where everybody is from your country and you don't have to speak English. And then if you go around and all the signs everywhere are written in different languages, I understand if so when you go to cities that are big tourist cities and you don't expect everyone who's just coming for a flying visit to speak the language, so you'll see English, right, if you go to Paris or somewhere on the metro and whatnot, that's fine. But when it's stuff in the local community, which is clearly for locals who live here, who should speak our language, I don't think we should make it easy for them.
When it comes
make
to
it difficult for them so they've got no choice.
So I don't think make it difficult for them. When it comes to speaking the language, I think the main thing is, in your private home, you should be able to speak whatever language you like.
For sure.
But you do need to be able to speak sufficiently good English in this case to interact with the state. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, and Paul, on that point, this is where it gets frustrating, right? Because we then have to pay for translators, because we basically send the message, don't worry about learning English, we'll put everything in your own language for you. So then we end up paying for translators and the tax bill goes through the roof and then we don't get services because we're having to pay for that stuff, Paul.
Exactly. Look, in order for us to prosper and be successful, we have to nourish our incumbent culture. It's a very simple philosophy. Our incumbent culture relies on the English language, okay? There has been many discussions, particularly on this channel, and maybe even on the BBC occasionally, whether there is such a thing as the British culture. There is undoubtedly a British culture.
Of course there
and
is.
the foundations of that British culture is the English language. Now, maybe it's a shame we don't speak more languages, but it's the truth. It's how we are, it's how we come. And if you want that community and society within the incumbent culture to survive and thrive, it needs to have basic principles. And one of them should be that everybody is able to speak the native language. It's just very, very simple. And because of what's happening with multiculturalism, we're starting to believe that anything, even the language now, as we saw with the raising of the colours and anything else that's associated with Britain or England, is seen as bad. It's not bad. It's something we should celebrate. Come here, speak the language. Most people speak the language. There is nothing wrong with it.
The anti-fly tipping sign in North London, written in 8 different languages, has sparked a debate that goes beyond waste management and straight into questions of culture and integration. For Chloe Dobbs, the sign symbolizes a deeper problem, that newcomers can settle in Britain without ever learning English, a view that reflects anxieties about assimilation. Paul Cox echoes this concern, framing English as the cornerstone of British identity and suggesting that offering too many linguistic alternatives weakens that foundation. On the other hand, Andy William dismisses the outrage, noting that the sign is simply practical, designed to communicate clearly with diverse communities and prevent littering. His perspective highlights a clash between cultural symbolism and everyday pragmatism. The debate, then, is less about fly tipping and more about the meaning of language in public life. For some, multilingual signs are signs of inclusivity and realism in a global city. For others, they represent a threat to national cohesion. This small sign thus becomes a stage for larger arguments over identity, belonging, and what it means to live together in modern Britain.